trad wife is hard for me because it's traditional wife, right?
Yes.
That type of shit is hard for me. Like, why isn't it trad wife?
Oh, you mean pronunciation? I thought you were going to make some argument about where we are as a culture. Say this again.
Okay, so like trad. We don't say
Trud.
trad.
Oh,
we
I
don't say
get it.
traditional.
You don't say traditional.
Yeah. So you don't say traditional. You
Yeah.
say
Trud.
traditional. So then would it be a trad wife?
Sounds interact with each other in all sorts of interesting ways. And in English, when you add or subtract suffixes from words, you'll often change the stress patterns of those words. And you might change the vowel sounds that you use in those words. And if we take ishin, for example, and look at how it interacts with words, we'll often find that the preceding vowel becomes more of an unstressed schwa sound. So like juxtapose versus juxtaposition, or compete versus competition, demolish versus demolition. And trad and tradition fit pretty neatly into that line, right? Tradition makes use of that schwa sound, and trad rhymes with Chad and Brad. And in addition to all that, I think with a word like trad, the writing may have influenced the speech, right? Because I know personally, I read the term trad wife before I ever heard anyone talking about some trad wives. And even as I read it and I knew it was short for traditional, I was still pronouncing it in a way that rhymes with Chad and Brad. And I think a word like algo, short for algorithm, is in a similar spot. Like, I read it before I ever spoke it, but instinctually, I knew that the second syllable in algo was going to be pronounced differently, right? I needed a different vowel sound for algo than I did for algorithm. So yeah, I get that it might seem strange that the shorter version of a word uses a different vowel sound than the longer version of that word, but I like to think of it as two different phonetic environments. And because the words are in two different environments, they're expressing themselves a bit differently.